All right, everybody, welcome back to class. Yay, it's January the 13th, 2021, and this is Bolufsky Science, and I'm trying to break the mouse on my computer. I'm going to quickly run through today's lesson in science. This is for people that were absent or missed out information in class. You can always come back, watch these videos. They're only here to help you. Today is the first day back in class, and man, I'm going to tell you right now, my voice hurts because I've been talking all day, and my feet hurt, and I'm kind of struggling. Uh, but we're going to get this video made real quick and help you folks out a little bit. All right. So, what did we do today in class? Well, what you need to do is you need to, first of all, you need to do your warm up. So that's not your warm up. Here is where your warm up is. You can click on this and you can type in the question, what word is used to describe a single celled organism? And that will be your warm up for today. All right. What we've been doing here is we last week we studied the parts of the microscope, and now we are getting into, once again, we're doing a review of living things. And so today we started in class talking about we continued with chapter 2, lesson 1 about living things, and that's where we're going to pick up today. You need to go to classwork, and you need to put my voice in the background somewhere, and you need to have the textbook up as I show it to you so that you'll know exactly what to write. And you need to have a side of the computer. You need to choose a side of computer for you to have your document pulled up so you can type the answers into. So you know how it's done. You need to type on this right here. You need to click on the chapter 2, the 7th grade chapter 2. Google Doc. That's what you need to click on because you can type on this. You cannot type on the PDF. However, I'm going to click on the PDF because I'm going to show you once again the work out of the textbook, and I'm going to show you and tell you when you need to hit pause so that you can get something typed in. Now, yesterday we got all the way through number 8. We talked about what is the most abundant chemical in cells. So today we're going to start with number 9, nucleic acids. So let's pick up right there. All right. Nucleic acids is not, it is not in bold print. It is located right here. Nucleic acids are the genetic material, the chemical instructions that direct cells' activities. All right, hit pause and we'll talk about it. All right, you've got nucleic acids typed in there. Nucleic acids are basically, it's genetic material. It's stuff that is used by your cells to determine what the cell's job is going to do. And it's information that you get from mom and dad that makes you who you are. For example, if somebody's ever said to you, boy, you got your mom's eyes. Okay, well, of course, mom didn't hand you her eyes. Chances are that through her genetic material, she passed on to you the ability to have the eyes that look like her. So that's where you got your mom's eyes. I got my dad's big feet. My dad has these huge, gigantic feet. And my mother's side of the family, the majority of them had itty bitty feet. Well, most people on my dad's side of the family have big feet. I got big feet. So chances are my dad gave me big feet. So that means the genetic tissue, the genetic material, the nucleic acid passed on that genetic material that allowed me to be able to have big feet. So I'm sure there's things that you know about you that you got from your mom's side of the family or from your dad's side of the family, whether it's athletic ability or the ability to tell jokes or the ability to play musical instruments or to sing pretty. All of those things are bad tempers are passed down from our moms and dads. All right. The next word is, the next thing we need to talk about real quick is energy use. And of course, now you don't have to write a definition here, but all living things use energy in some form or some manner. Okay. Even plants use energy. They use energy to make food. All right. So they use energy to grow. Every living thing on earth uses energy. Okay, response to surroundings. All right, so the next word that you need to write down is stimulus. All right. And all day long today, people have said stimulus checks, stimulus checks. Well, that is something big in the news right now, but that is not, that has nothing to do with science. So, what is a stimulus? Now, remember, we're talking about things responding to their surroundings. So, what is a stimulus? Okay. Well, you need to write this. It is a change in an organism's surroundings that causes the organism to act. It causes the organism to react. So let's read it again. A change in an organism's surroundings that causes the organism to react. Hit pause and we'll talk about it. Okay, you've got stimulus written in now. What stimulus basically means is a stimulus is anything that makes you react. Okay, such as when the bell in class rings, kids know it's time to grab my stuff and leave. All right, a stimulus might be me walking into the mall and smelling popcorn in the movie theater. That smells good. I would when I the stimulus it makes me want to go buy some. That's why they make popcorn so that you can smell it, so that you want to go buy some of it. All right, when you're riding your bicycle and somebody blows their horn around you, and it makes you jump. All right, you jumping makes you become very aware of your surroundings. What's going on? What's happened? All right, a stimulant when your parents are driving down the road and they hear a siren and they're like, okay, where is it? And they try to figure out where a stimulus siren. Hey, look for me. Find where I am. Let's not have a wreck. A stimulus is just a way of getting something's attention. Now then, what you do is the next word. All right, response. Okay, so when grandmother says, come get it, the fried chicken's ready, what do you do? Okay, do you just sit there or do you make a run to try to get the first piece? All right, well, that is called a response. What's the definition? Okay, write this: an action or change in behavior. Hit pause and we'll talk about it. All right, so a response is what you do to a stimulation. So if you're in the car driving and you hear a siren, you start looking for it. Where is it? Okay. When somebody blows their horn at you, where did that come from? Okay. When grandmother says, chicken's ready, come get it. Okay. Some people try to be the first to get the first piece of chicken. And other people, kind of like me, now you wouldn't ever guess this by looking at me, but when people say, come and eat, I usually hang back because I don't want to get in that crowd. I don't want to be surrounded by people when I'm trying to get my food. So I just hang back and I get the leftovers basically, but I still get fed, obviously. So, but I don't like getting mashed up in that crowd. I try to avoid that when I can. So a stimulus is something that makes you react. When the alarm clock goes off in the morning, do you hit the snooze button and go to sleep for a little bit longer? Do you turn the alarm off and just go back to bed? Or do you jump out of bed? Hey, we're back in school today. Yay. Okay. How do you react? Okay. Whatever your reaction is, that is your response. Okay. Now the next word is, I'm looking at my cheat sheet over here at the board. All right, the next word is, or the next one, number 12, growth is the process of becoming. All right, well, growth is the process of becoming larger. So that is number 12. Number 13, development. Okay, what is development? Right here is the word. Development is the process of change that occurs during an organism's life to produce a more complex organism. Man, I kind of got crooked right there. So I guess I need to try to erase that to make that look better for you. All right. Development is the process of change that occurs during an organism's life to produce a more complex organism. Hit pause. All right. So what development is what I told the class is, think about yourself 10 years ago. Okay. You can't even remember that far back because you were 2 or 3 years old. All right. So being 2 or 3 years old, you could hardly walk. You could hardly talk. You had a very limited vocabulary. You couldn't feed yourself very well, and I told folks that they were still pooping and peeing on themselves. Okay, just call it the way I see it, and that's the way I see it. Now think about yourself now. Okay, you have developed. You have become a teenager, or you're a year away from being a teenager. You can walk and run easily. Some of you are super athletic already. You can look how big your vocabulary has become. Okay, you can say more than just a few words now. You know thousands of words. All right. You can feed yourself. If I put a steak and potato in front of you, you'd know exactly what to do with it. Okay. And of course, I hope you're not peeing and pooping yourself yet, but still. But anyway, you've passed that. And that is development. Development is the act of growth and maturation, becoming older. Okay. Number 14 is reproduction. And reproduce is right here. All right. The definition: produce offspring that are similar to the parents. Produce offspring that are similar to the parents. Hit pause. Okay, so you've written down the definition for reproduce. All right. Basically, what that means is that species, if they cannot reproduce, they become extinct. So it's real important that we know how to reproduce, and that we're able to continue to reproduce. And I know people today kind of laughed about that when I said that. Well, I'm not being ugly and I'm not being dirty, certainly. I don't know if I talked about it during my video classes about the eagle. Okay, the eagle, the bald eagle, the American bald eagle got to a point where it could no longer reproduce. Now, it was able to reproduce, but there was a problem with poisons that was in the water that was affecting the females when they produced their egg, and it made the egg extremely fragile. And when they would lay the egg, the egg would crack open and the baby would die. And it is what caused the American eagle, the bald eagle, to become very, very endangered several years ago. And when we figured out what was happening as humans, we figured out that we were the problem. Us humans, we were the problem. We corrected what the poison was that we were putting into the environment. And then the eagle's eggs started hardening up and getting to a point where they would not break so easily. And now eagles are making a comeback in our environment. So when I say the ability to be able to reproduce and know how to reproduce and know what problems are, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being able to, like for us humans, knowing and recognizing, what problems are or with other creatures and helping them. And it's responsibility as for us humans to help other creatures. All right. Let's see here. I'm looking at my board to see what else we did in class today. All right, spontaneous generation. All right. There is this man, and his name is Francisco Redi. And he came up with a demonstration that showed that this word, and the word is spontaneous generation. Francisco Redi showed that spontaneous generation is wrong. Okay, well, what is spontaneous generation? Well, I have talked about it, and you may remember me talking about it earlier in the year. Spontaneous generation is this. It is the mistaken idea that living things can arise from non-living sources. Hit pause and type that in. Okay, so what is spontaneous generation? Okay, spontaneous generation is the belief that something living can come from something non-living. For example, if you 300 years ago, if we were walking down the road and we saw a mud puddle on the side of the road and a frog jumped out of it, we might think that that mud puddle just gave birth to that frog. Okay. Did you see that? That mud puddle just gave birth to that frog. Okay. People believe things like that 300 years ago. And as silly as you think that is, well, 300 years ago, they didn't have the science that we have now. We have 300 years worth of knowledge stacked up behind us that we've learned and that we've learned from. So to us, that seems pretty silly. But 300 years ago, there were people that were believing stuff like that. If you opened up the closet and a moth flew out, wow, my closet just gave birth to these moths. Well, of course not, but that's what people thought years ago. All right, well, spontaneous generation is incorrect. So what Reddy did, he figured out a way to demonstrate that this was wrong. Okay, so what did he do? All right, well, let's go back to the experiment right here. Nope, that's not it. This is it right here. All right, I don't like how the book shows what happened in the experiment because when you look at this, it looks like he had 6 jars. Nope, he did not use 6 jars. He used 2 jars. Okay, he used 2 jars, and each one of these is a next step. All right, so step 1, he put meat at the bottom of each jar. He left one jar open. He left the other jar he put a net on top of it. So it was covered with a netting. All right, step 2. All right, of course, as you have figured out, here's step 2. In step 2, of course, the flies would fly down into where the meat was. But over here, the flies could not fly down to where the meat was. And step 3. In step 3, they noticed that there were maggots growing all over the meat here because the flies could get down in there to the meat. Over here, there were no maggots on the meat. You see, years ago, people thought that maggots came from dead, rotten meat and garbage. Okay? Well, today we know that maggots that you see right here, these are baby house flies. They're baby flies. And so today we know that maggots just don't come crawling out of meat, but that's what people thought many years ago. Well, Reddy's experiment showed that that was incorrect. Through this experiment, it showed that meat does not just give birth to maggots. His experiment showed that if the flies can't get to the meat, they can't lay their eggs down in the meat, and you won't get maggots from the meat. So Francisco Reddy is credited for coming up with that discovery, one of those discoveries. All right, we're going to stop right there for today. We're going to end it. If you have any questions, send me an email. And otherwise, we're good for the day, and I will see you tomorrow. Belufsky is out. See ya.